This is the Real Positive Girl podcast, and I am your host, Sabrina. I'm here chatting with you about your emotions, your mental health struggles, how to take those first few steps towards being more vulnerable, more honest, and being more self-aware. And we do that 2 times a week over here, so welcome. If you're new, I think you'll enjoy this. Today, we are going to chat about what to do when you feel stuck in life. But before we do that, let me just ask you a quick question, my friend. Have we become friends online yet? Have we? If yes, let's make it more real by sending a message so we can at least say, hey, hi, hello, and check in and deepen that friendship. But if not, please check the show notes below for my name on socials. I am at Sabrina Joy Perozzo. And if you look down there in the show notes, it'll tell you how to spell that. But I am at Sabrina Joy Perozzo on both Instagram and TikTok. And then on Twitter, where I'm trying to do more and more every day, I am at Real Sabrina Joy. So come say hi, friends. I look forward to meeting you. I have one more question for you. Are you ready? Have you signed up for the weekly newsletter? It comes out every Wednesday. Or have you suggested a topic that I should talk about? Because I love your guys' feedback, and your ideas will help me serve you better because I'm here to create content for you. Or have you checked out the planner journal hybrid that I have for sale on Amazon? You can prime it and everything. If not, please take a peek at the show notes again for all of those things, and you will find links for the journal, for the newsletter, for the topic, other things that you might be interested in. And I know that was more than one question, but I'm glad you listened. Thank you. I'm also asking for anyone that would like to support my goal of sharing mental health and mindset content online and full-time to become a monthly donor over on Patreon. The link for that is in the show notes as well. So thank you for anything and everything that you decide to do. So check all that out. I look forward to meeting you on social soon. Now let's chat about what to do when you feel stuck in life. So I used to feel stuck in life so often. And I say that as if it was after school activity that I was involved in. Kind of felt like that. Let's be real. I genuinely thought I was stuck during different moments of my life, and that I wouldn't actually get out of that until I experienced some astounding aha moment, or had someone tell me what I should do, or just this might sound silly to you if you haven't heard it before, just wander out of it. Take a little journey, wander out of it, walk. I don't know. It's not very profound, I know, but it's what I thought. And so I had this grand idea that it was just all magic and I wasn't in control and that it would just happen. And it's just what I thought, guys. Okay, let's be honest. I'm being honest. I'm always here to be honest, transparent, and vulnerable with you to encourage you to do the same. So it was only recently had my mindset changed on feeling stuck, to be honest with you. And so this is now how I think of feeling stuck in life. You aren't actually stuck in life. You aren't actually stuck in life. You're just focusing on the wrong things for this season of life, the one that you're in right now. And when I say season of life, just in case you're new here, I do not mean the actual seasons of spring, winter, fall, summer. Notice I said summer last because it's my least favorite. It's coming around. It's fine. It's getting better. But yeah, for this season of life, and you've outgrown the way you experience success and need to make changes. And success doesn't have to necessarily only mean things regarding making money or business. It can be feeling successful in becoming a better parent, becoming the best parent you could be, volunteering, starting your side hustle, keeping your home tidy, writing that book, reading more books, taking care of yourself. Anything and everything could be qualified as successful if you are achieving that goal. So again, let me just tell you one more time my new viewpoint on feeling stuck in life. You aren't actually stuck in life. You're just focusing on the wrong things for this season of life, and you've outgrown the way you experience success and need to make changes. So feeling stuck in life can be a challenging experience, regardless of whether you understand it's only because you need a mindset shift or not. Whether you quote unquote buy into my way of seeing, my perspective of feeling stuck in life or not, it's still really difficult. It's still not like the easiest thing in the entire world. I don't know what the easiest thing in the entire world is. Waking up? My husband actually would highly disagree with that. He says waking up is like the hardest thing ever because he considers the whole thing of like getting out of bed and being ready for the day is waking up. Anyway, but yeah, so whether you believe in this or not, it's still challenging because even if you do realize that you need a mindset shift, you can still be sitting around, wandering, waiting, hoping, wishing, where that shift for your mindset should come from. You know what I mean? And what you should be doing. And I wanted to make sure there is an emphasis on should, because should implies that there is a correct way and that there is a bad way. And I do not believe that when we are creating goals and being on a journey to do whatever we're doing in life, that there has to be a right way and a wrong way, because there's so many different ways. And even if someone would classify whatever way you're doing it as wrong, and maybe it's not the easiest way, maybe there was an easier way for you to choose, but you didn't choose that for whatever reason, that's fine. You're still going to learn a lot. You're going to grow a lot. You're going to go through mistakes and failures, which is our best learning lessons. You are going to better understand what's happening in that journey. So just so you know, people are going to throw around the word should because they've created these rules in their life. And sometimes it's like our whole society, at least here in the United States, creating these rules that we need to live by when, like, I didn't sign up for those rules. Now, certain rules, like, that are laws that we, can't just be like, I'm not going to do that. But, these like just rules about how we should or shouldn't be doing this, that, and the other. I just feel like we need to realize that those aren't real rules and we can kind of just navigate our lives as we can, as long as we're not hurting other people. And so we will get into tips on what I recommend that you do when you're feeling this way, when you're feeling stuck. But first, it is very important for us to chat about why we feel like we're stuck in life, because I don't even know how to like roll into this as like the prettiest way, but if we understand like why something is happening, like why we are feeling a certain way, why we are driven to doing like that action, why we feel like it's harder to respond than it is to react, why, then once we know the why, then it's better, easier for us to create change, take action towards change, and actually have a lasting change because we know why. We know the like baseline information on why, because why generally always points us into like, how did this begin? Where, I feel like there's a word in my mind that I'm looking for right now, you guys, I'm sorry, but it's just like the origin. Yes. Where did this start? Where did it begin? What's the origin story of what is going on in our lives? Okay. So let's just quickly chat about like why we would feel stuck in our lives. So I just have like 5 examples for you that I want to share that I feel like will be really helpful, insightful, and kind of like help you guide yourself to what you feel is the best for you. So the first one is like if we're lacking direction in our lives or like a purpose to work towards, and embody and become, we can feel stuck. We can feel like just so stuck and like we are going nowhere. Quicksand, continuing to sink in, we will be here forever. This is especially true when we are doing something we don't want to do, but we have to do or we feel like we have to do, like a job that's like unfulfilling, not fun, really difficult. We're not growing in it, doesn't feel like it's going to expand into anything else. So like a job or even a place where we live, like if we live in a place and it just feels like it is sucking our soul out moment by moment. And let me just throw a caveat in there. And we have tried to make things better. We have tried to push ourselves to meet new people, find new activities to do, live in different neighborhoods, whatever. So, and it's just not working. So that could be it. Or even responsibilities that we didn't want. So let's say that we are a part of some sort of group and we have responsibilities in that group and we really didn't want to do that, or we joined some sort of volunteer thing to like because our kids seemed interested in it, but we hate it to the max. I've been there, you guys. Listen, my kid is almost 15. She'll be 15 in like a week. And I remember I was excited for her because I didn't get to do it growing up. I kind of got to like be a visitor of it, but she was really excited and a lot of the other girls were doing it, which is a terrible reason to do anything, let's be honest. But my daughter wanted to do Girl Scouts. And so when she was in elementary school, we started it. There was like meetings every other week or maybe monthly, I can't remember. And it seemed all fun and good and great, right? And I was just like, I wasn't the troop leader. I was just like there, volunteering every now and again, helping out, donating, buying cookies, all the things. And then we got so sick of the troop that we were in, and me and a couple other moms with their kiddos. So we decided to form our own troop. And of course, me being the people pleaser that I definitely really, 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 really was, I was like, oh, hey guys, I can be the troop leader. That's totally fine. Let me go online and do all the work. And then, oh man, I hated it. I hated it, you guys. I hated it with a passion. And all those friendships, like dumpster fires immediately with those parents, didn't work out. Selling cookies sucked even more than it normally did. Even like when we were like in someone else's troop, selling cookies sucked. It was like a lot of work. And it wasn't just the work, but part of it was the work and also the scheduling and this, that, and the other. Anyway, and the time commitment. It was a lot. And it was something that I didn't want to do. It was a responsibility that I took on. Of course, I made that decision, but I regretted it massively. And it's just a responsibility I didn't want. And I actually could reflect back and feel like I am stuck in life because I made that decision to, go above and beyond what I actually wanted to do without really doing truly any research. So just think of that. Like if we are lacking direction or purpose, or we're really, really, really not enjoying certain things that we're doing in our life, that could be a reason why we are feeling stuck in our lives. The second one I want to mention is not knowing what will happen when we step outside of our comfort zones and make changes can be so fear-inducing, like incredibly fear-inducing, which can lead to feeling stuck in our lives. It's like we feel stuck because we know that we need to do something. We need to make a move, but we cannot because we're so crippled by fear because we don't know the outcomes that are going to happen. Naturally, none of us do. We don't have like a magic ball to really tell us, despite some people trying to take your money to convince you otherwise. Yeah. Okay. So, it's just, we don't know. We don't know how things are going to turn out. We don't know if it's going to work. And so that can, cause us to feel stuck in life because we kind of maybe want to try new things, but we are so fearful of like how things could turn out. The third one is like, if you're already dealing with a lot of stressors and struggles in your life, maybe you are dealing with stress at work or at home with your family. Maybe you just lost a loved one. Maybe other things are just difficult with your kids and your friends, your family, your spouse, whatever, partner. And it's just a lot. It will be more difficult to keep moving forward when you have all of this like burden on you to deal with. And if you're not moving forward, you end up feeling stuck. So let's say that like you started on a journey to achieving a goal and doing something great and becoming your best self and going after all those things, but then all of these stressors and struggles just like landed in your lap and now you have to deal with this crap. And it's hard for you to continue pouring yourself into achieving those goals and things because you have to deal with all this other crap that just landed in your lap. And then when you aren't working towards those goals, you feel stuck. You feel caught in this like tornado of all this junk happening to you. I only say that because I feel like I've recently experienced something like that. And it definitely feels like a tornado because you're looking around, you're swirling around, you're overwhelmed. Feels like it's just going to swallow you whole until finally it twists on away. if you're as old as I am, which I am 37 years old, you guys, anytime I think about a tornado, I think about the movie Twister. Do you remember that? The movie Twister. I think it came out in like 1998. That's my guess. Okay, let me try to like look it up while I'm sitting here because yeah, like anytime I talk about a tornado, which isn't often because I live in the Northwest, so we don't really have those. But oh my gosh, it was 96. I was so close, you guys. I just looked it up on my phone, 1996. But I always think about that. I always think about like those big scenes in that movie. I think there's a second one coming out like soon, I think. I don't know. Isn't that crazy? Anyway, if you're as old as me or older, then you might remember that. Okay. So that's number 3. Number 4, if you are lacking in multiple areas of your life, like friends or money, finances, time, opportunities that you would like, support from other people, even getting support from like a therapist or a counselor because you can't find one or can't book in with one. If you're lacking in actually having healthy relationships, so you do have friends and family in your life, but they're the crappy relationships, you can feel stuck. You can feel stuck because you're like, man, I am stuck not having a lot of friends. How am I going to get more friends? How am I going to get more money, time, opportunities, healthier relationships, support in my life? And I actually, I feel like the one that I feel like I'm in right now, I don't necessarily feel stuck. I just feel like it's a problem that I will need to put time and attention into solving at some point, but it's like a lack of like friends and then also like friendly support. I don't have a lot of friends like in real life, hug you friends, even though I don't really like to hug a lot of people. It's a whole other thing. And I used to have a lot more friends, and then, some relationships are just not meant to last like your whole life, and those faded off, and then other people moved away and had their own struggles, things to deal with, relationships kind of just fade away. And so that's like one that I am personally lacking in is like friends. And it's something that I do need to solve. But you can feel stuck in thinking, oh, you'll never make friends or find new friends and you'll be lonely forever or whatever kind of thoughts you might have because you are just like, I'm stuck in this problem and I don't see a way out. And this is even if you've, dabbled a little bit in trying to figure out how to solve your problem, but then you quickly give up. So let's just be honest about how much work you've actually put into any of these things, because if you haven't actually put in that much work, then there's still opportunity there for you to figure it out and not feel stuck. The last one that I want to share is if you still have a ton of emotional baggage and unresolved trauma hanging around you, you will feel stuck in that unfinished feeling, that unfinished business that you have going on that you need to figure out. So if you still have a ton of emotional baggage and it's just weighing on you, maybe there's some trauma that happened to you and you haven't talked to anyone about it, you haven't felt safe about it, it's still haunting you, you're going to feel stuck because you have these things that are just like, I will not let you go. I will not let you figure out the rest of your life until you deal with it, right? So those are like just some of the main reasons I came up with why you could be feeling stuck in your life. If you feel like none of those reasons hit home for you, totally fine. I just encourage you to take time to figure out what your reason, your reason for feeling stuck is. It will really help you transition out of that feeling if you can. If you can figure it out, if you can like define it down to even a few things. If you're not sure how to get started on figuring out like what your reason for feeling stuck is, I would suggest like starting with reflecting on what's happening in your life right now. Be careful. I am emphasizing the fact that you need to focus on what's happening right now and not what's happened in the past. Again, the past can definitely give us hints and more understanding of how and why we are and what's happening right now, right? But if we focus too hard on the past, we get so caught up in like we shoulda, coulda, woulda, and that's not productive or helpful, and we can't change the past. No one has told me where we're signing up to get a time machine yet, so it is not possible, Okay, so focus on what's happening in your life right now. Really think about how you feel about your current relationships or lack thereof, if that is the issue. Think about your job, how you make money, any goals you may have, your money situations, like whether you have a lot or not enough or whatever's your goals for that, and even the health of your mind and your body. So, like, really deeply thinking about your mental health and like your physical health in your body, whether you're dealing with like sickness or problems or issues that are being addressed or not being addressed. Really think about all those things. And that can help you form some conclusions on why you feel stuck in your life. And if you find it difficult to recall all of these things in like one sitting, like if you're like, Sabrina, I just can't sit down and like write out all of these things. I totally get it. I totally get it. Just start writing down any reflections when you do think of something, kind of like journal it, or even like in a notes app or some sort of project management kind of thing that you like. Post-it note, whatever you want to do. Journal, like just type it in a Word doc. I love that. It's just easy and it's quick. I like to type fast. So any way you can, I would encourage you kind of journal it, write it down. And when you're doing that and you're kind of reflecting back on your life and what's going on right now, look for any patterns in your life that could pinpoint you in the, kind of point you in the direction of what could be triggering feelings of feeling stuck. Was it just like comparison? Was it just jealousy or envy? Like these are real things, right? And that can kind of give you the breadcrumbs of figuring out exactly why you're feeling the way that you're feeling. Also, don't forget to talk to someone that you trust, someone that you have a connection with, that you can share intimate personal details with. Or you can talk to a therapist or a counselor for help with this exercise too, of figuring out what is the reason that you're feeling stuck. Now, let's get into some tips on what you should do when you're feeling stuck in life. Before I go through these tips, as always, I want to let you know that all of these tips and this advice is based on my own personal knowledge and research and my experiences and the experiences of those I am allowed to share. If you feel like none of these tips align with you or would be helpful in you engaging in to no longer feel stuck in your life, I encourage you to have a one-on-one connection with a therapist or a counselor, and then you guys can get together and figure out what would align best for you to figure out how to deal with feeling stuck in life. If you don't want to do that, then I do suggest that you go over to our best friend, everyone say it with me, Google, and that you look up what you should do when you're feeling stuck in life. And you'll get lots of articles and research and blogs and maybe other podcasts and anything else that maybe could lead you in the direction of finding something that is more aligned with what you need to figure out what you should do when you're stuck in life, when you're feeling stuck in life. So, okay, I have 5 tips on what I believe would be most helpful when you're feeling like you're stuck in life. Let's go. So number 1, figure out why you're feeling stuck. Now, I already outlined the tips on how to go about this, just before we jumped into this list, but I just wanted to reiterate how important it is to discover why you're feeling this way, and then dive into how we can change this, shift this, make it different. Because knowing the origin and understanding where it came from, you are better in the know of how to change it, because you know how it came about and you know what it might be resistant to and what it would be less resistant to. I couldn't think of another word, the antonym to that. And just really understanding where it stemmed from, right? Okay. So figure out why you're feeling stuck. Number 2, figure out what needs to change and create goals. Figure out what needs to change and create goals. Now, figuring out why you're stuck, you're like, I'm stuck because I feel unfulfilled. Okay, great. So then you figure out what needs to change, and then you create goals around that change. So once you figure out the reason you're feeling stuck, you can decide what needs to be changed. This could be a physical change, like a different job, new friends, new place to live, whatever you feel is best, and not a rash decision. Let's be careful. Let's not make rash decisions, which means let's not just make decisions in the heat of the moment when we have done no planning or plotting or research, at least a little bit. I understand it's fun to do things in the moment, in the heat of the moment, and just make a decision. If you have the money and time and ability to do that, it's great. But still kind of think on it, do some research, figure it out. Just a little bit, just a smidge, just a scotch, okay? So yeah, it could be a physical change, but it could also just be a mindset change that you need to make and needing to create and enforce like personal boundaries. Also to no longer allow fear hold you back. Or maybe you just need to strengthen your self-esteem, your self-worth, your self-awareness, all of these things. So really figure out what needs to change and then create goals around it. An example would be is if you feel like you're unfulfilled in the job that you're doing and you would rather do a job that's more fulfilling that still pays the same. Great. You feel stuck because you're in this job and it's just no bueno. Fine. So you figure out what needs to change. Your job probably needs to change, or you need to ignite the spark or the reason that you took this job. And maybe the reason you took this job is because you just need to make money and you're just there to like pull a paycheck. Okay. Is there anything that you can, get excited about? Is there anything that could you change positions in that company, right? That might be easier than just finding out a totally new job. Can you, again, find something to be more excited about, something to like draw yourself into, learn, understand better? Maybe that could be the change that you can have, and then you create a goal around that. Or maybe the change needs to be that you find another job. So you start finding another job, you create goals and like, okay, well, every day after work, I'm going to come home and for this amount of time, I'm going to look for job opportunities. And then I'm going to enlist someone to help me like tidy up my resume. And then I'm going to have someone, or I'm going to do research online on what are the best like websites to post my resume on. And then I'm going to watch videos and also maybe get outside opinions and support in like interview skills and building those up so that when I do get an interview, I'll be ready to go. So, really just figuring out what needs to change. Once you identify what's stuck, like why you feel you're stuck, okay? And then figure out what needs to change, create a goal around that. And then you're good, because it could be, yes, a physical goal or just a mindset change or both. It could definitely, for sure, 125% be both, okay? Number 3, take action on your goals. Take action on your goals. Do you know why it's so important that if anyone's ever like providing a list of tips or advice on things to do, and it includes you creating goals, and then why it's so important for you to make sure that in that list, it tells people to take action on your goals. It's because people don't take action on their goals. I know, mind-blowing, right? People love, and I'm including myself in here. Don't think I'm counting myself out. Absolutely not. People love to create goals. People love to say they're going to do this, that, and the other. They're going to go to the moon and back. Yet they will not take a single action on anything that they intended to do out of like fear or lack of knowledge, lack of support, like whatever it is. And then they'll just sit on this like list of goals, They're like, oh, well, maybe someday. Maybe someday when? Like today. Today should be the day. Get to it. Follow through with your word and start going after those goals. Why are you sitting around? Why are you waiting? Don't allow yourself to procrastinate on this task of taking action on your goals or to come up with excuses why you can't start now. There is never a more perfect time than right now. You think there is, but there isn't, because how will you know if you never done this before? Or even if you have done it before, it doesn't mean that same situation and everything is going to manifest like perfectly as it did before. You know what I mean? There is never a more perfect time than now. And the sooner that you start, the sooner you'll get better. The sooner that you start, the sooner you will get better. Get better. Okay? So please keep that in mind. We can do this. Take action on your goals. It's scary. It's scary. But I think that most things that are scary when your fear isn't trying to like rein you in and keep you like super safe, like for reals, that you know it's worth doing when you're afraid to do it, when you're afraid to step out, when you're afraid to take the chance. But you need to do it. You need to follow through with your word, because if you're not going to follow through with the word with the promise that you made yourself, then you're less likely to follow through with other people. And that's just something we should work on. Okay? So take action on your goals. Number 4, try something new. I know, these tips that are so fresh and new and mind-blowing. Yes, try something new. Super simple. Try something new. Step out of your routine and do something new to you. And I wanted to write it as something new to you, because you might do something that you feel is super new to you, and everyone around you is like, oh my gosh, it's been around forever. Yes, everything's been around forever. Okay, let's just stop bringing back low-rise jeans. Okay, that's been around forever. Let's stop. Let's just never see that again. Don't know why I had to vent that out to you, but I did. I did. And I'm glad that I did. 37-year-old woman, and I'm telling you, stop bringing back low-rise jeans. Step out of your routine. Do something new. Doing new things can really shake us up, and in a good way, not a bad way, to discover something that we didn't know that we really enjoyed, and to see things from a new perspective, a different perspective of doing things, living life, enjoying life. And the other bonus is that you can also discover new skills you have from these new experiences. And that's a double plus, because you're like, oh my gosh, I'm really good at this thing. I really enjoy this thing. Can I capitalize it? How can I use it to make myself better, make life better, more fulfilling, and less stuck, right? So try something new. I try to push myself to try something new often, despite the fact that I do feel not stuck in life. But you guys know that my philosophy is that we're not stuck. We're just trying to figure out what needs to happen, what needs to change and shift. But regardless, trying something new can be really good for working on fostering a growth mindset, where we understand that we can just continue to work at things and get better over time. We don't need to just be naturally good at everything. And the fact that we won't just magically know all of our skills because we haven't tried everything in the world. And so we could all of a sudden be really good at knife throwing, but we wouldn't know until we went and did that, as an activity. I say that because here where I live in Southwest Washington, so right across the river from Portland, Oregon, and it is a very common activity for people to go axe throwing. I have never done it myself. I think I kind of want to, but it's a very common activity, and so that's immediately what I thought of. Maybe I'm really good at that, and so maybe when I go, I'll be like, fantastic. Try something new. Okay, number 5, and the last one I have in our list today, is to celebrate everything. Celebrate everything. I feel like I've been talking about this concept and this idea of celebrating everything a lot lately, because we don't do it enough. And we think that we have to reserve these times to celebrate things when they quote unquote really matter. And that means that by some committee out there in the society, at least here in the United States, that we have to go through them and they have to approve that something is big enough and bold enough and amazing enough to celebrate. When in reality, we can just celebrate anything. You can celebrate that, that coffee shop made such a good cup of coffee this morning. Feeling good. Started your day off right. Yeah, it can. Celebrate everything. I think last night when I put a story up on Instagram, I was celebrating the fact that, which is very different for me because I struggle with compliments, but I was celebrating the fact that someone gave me such an amazing, genuine compliment, and it was the best thing ever. Right? And it wasn't even in a bragging fashion. It was just more of oh my gosh, you guys, I accepted a compliment without being super ultra awkward, and the compliment was amazing. Let's celebrate. Celebrate the small things and the medium things, you guys. Not just the big things, not just the things that the committees of our society are yeah, okay, check mark, you can celebrate that because it's an actual big deal. No, it's a big deal when I go to a fast food place and they don't forget to put the dressing in there for the salad. Because Lord knows I don't want to drive all the way back to Chick-fil-A to get my salad dressing. That has not happened to me recently, but I did watch a story of a gal that happened to her today or yesterday. But that has happened to me before. Where I have to roll back up to Chick-fil-A because I don't have that avocado salad dressing in my fridge at home. I don't. So let's celebrate all of the little things. Let's celebrate getting a good cup of coffee, seeing a friend, getting that text message from someone. The medium-sized things where we're like, oh my gosh, we got through today without crying despite this really tough thing happening in our life. We got through today without yelling as many times as we did last week. Where we're getting better. We're celebrating the moments where we're just getting better and we're recognizing that we're becoming our best selves every single day, and that's going to look different every single day, which is why we should celebrate everything. Also, these moments of celebration can help us stick to what we are doing when it gets really tough, when it's like, oh, we don't want to keep going. We want to give up. We're done. But no, we'll celebrate all the moments and we'll just want to keep going. It can also create self-made motivation, feelings of accomplishment, and, we just need to celebrate everything, every moment that we can, because we should, because it's amazing. So, all right, you guys, well, that's it. That's the whole list I have for you on what you should do when you're feeling stuck in life. So I really hope that was helpful and beneficial. And if you did find it to be helpful and beneficial, I encourage you to share this episode with someone else that would really benefit from it. And that would also be helping me a ton because you're sharing the show and more people are getting to listen and be exposed to it. So thank you so much for listening to the Real Positive Girl podcast. Again, with me, Sabrina. Do not forget to check all the show notes with how to say hi and become friends with me on socials, to subscribe to the newsletter that comes out every Wednesday, suggest topics, anonymous venting, becoming a member of the Patreon if you want to support my desire to go full-time with mental health and mindset content for you guys. All the things down there for you. But until next time, have a good one, and I will see you all next time, okay? Bye.